Hello everyone, welcome back to Since 1919. Today we're talking about memory care facilities and what unique attributes they have that are different from a general kind of residential project. And funnily enough, this topic kind of actually kicked off the podcast because Ron and I were talking about memory care facilities, and I found it so interesting, all the little intricacies and details that make this type of facility so specialized and different. So Ron, did you want to kick off talking about what kind of population memory care serves, or maybe just what memory care facilities are in general?
Yeah, let's kind of talk a little bit. I did some research before, and it talked about what kind of people have dementia or memory care issues. And there's a lot of different factors with that. Alzheimer's, we always hear that. And then there's other things, which I didn't know from one of my providers that we work with. They say stroke victims, surgery, cancers could also cause some memory care. But just doing a quick search, and it was saying that 10% of adults 65 years and older, there's approximately about 7 million people with that dementia care or memory type care. And then they're saying by 2030, there'll be 9 million.
Oh.
And by 2060, it's going to double from there.
Oh, wow.
And there's other things too. There's an economic caregiver impact. And some of the statistics on that was the cost for this care in 2024 was $360 billion for 65 years and older individuals.
That's incredible.
And then nearly 12 million Americans that are being caregivers are unpaid. They're like people, serving people in their own homes.
Oh, okay.
Which then gets into, what is memory care and what are some of the characteristics of the individuals?
Yeah.
So some of the characteristics that when we are looking at designing a facility have to do with a lot has to do with vision.
Mm-hmm.
Some of their vision, which I found out from one of our clients, is that they have more of a yellowing with their visions, which kind of mutes some of the colors. They have difficult with anything with stairs or perceived to be stairs. Yeah. I know that some interior designers, or, we've done it in the past too in different facilities, is kind of do borders in corridors or, big common areas just to kind of differentiate the spaces. But the contrast in those colors and with their vision, that can appear to be a step or stairs, which then can cause, some mobility issues with that. The other thing with the individuals that are in these facilities that need this care, they wander. They tend to walk a lot. So you want to design a facility that's more open, and we'll maybe discuss a little bit more about what we can do with that. And then, obviously they're attempting to exit. They don't want to be there. They want to be at their home. And so there's a lot of security measures that we have to do with the different doors and providing direct access or lack of access to the outside.
Yeah.
We want to deter that. And then there's a behavioral issue. It's called sundowning. I don't really quite understand it, but it is where as the sun starts going down, the client, resident person gets more agitated.
Yes.
So that's some of the things of who we design for. And I guess now maybe kind of talk a little bit about
how do you address these things?
Yeah. Now, and you got to go see one of our facilities that's under construction, so you can kind of visualize the common area spaces, which we have designed in the facility that we're currently working in for Northwest Holdings of Illinois. Yeah. They happen to have a facility in Galesburg and Geneseo, and we're putting memory care additions onto their supportive living facilities. Yeah. With that, the wandering, how we deal with that is we try to look at getting some bright light in there. Mm-hmm. Now, this particular client of ours, they like to see the wall sconces at 2,700 Kelvin, and then their overall lighting for their ceiling fixtures at 4,000, and that just kind of brings up some brighter light.
And that helps with the vision as well, I assume.
Yeah, I believe so. They just want it to be bright and not looking that way. Other facilities that we've designed for them, because you do, natural light is what we want, but then it also has a negative connotation to it with the sundowning. You have a lot of natural light, then you're going to get more residents agitated.
Yes.
So we're hoping, or not hoping, but what we've designed is when some different facilities, not the current ones that you had got to visit, but other memory care where we did just strictly a memory care facility, we had motorized dampers on some of the common area windows, so that at a certain preset time, those motorized dampers start coming down, which then just enhances the artificial light that we have in there, which is pretty bright, so that maybe it would, I hate to say trick, but change the awareness that it is getting dark. Now, however, they go into their apartment, their unit, they have a window. They can tell it's getting dark out. So you can't solve everything.
Right.
One of the things, too, the colors, kind of gets that with the carpeting and stuff. We do a lot of carpeting, and we do some LVT. We do ceramic flooring as well. Try to keep a more neutral earth tone, but we are doing some more fun colors in Geneseo, more in the common areas type of things, like the ice cream parlor, for example. Okay. But all these spaces, too, and that's the one thing. We don't have them behind doors, so the dining room is open to the corridor. The ice cream parlor is open to the corridor. TV rooms, living rooms, activity rooms are all open to the corridor. We're not necessarily concerned about noise distraction, but it's really just that wayfinding and having that recognition, like the kitchen. It's all about smells. The dining room, you can tell that food's there, or the ice cream parlor with music. They have intercoms throughout there, providing soothing tones, music, whatever, to help create that environment. And then with the wandering, we do railings in the corridor. We do a lean rail, which is a little different, where it just looks like a molding on the wall, but it's like a shelf. You've probably seen these more, sometimes I know restaurants or bar establishments will do that, like a drink rail. Well, it's a similar concept that a person can walk along it and just have their hand on it, versus it's not really meant for grasping, but just kind of give that steadiness for it. But a lot of times we do handrails that are ADA compliant.
And I definitely noticed those when we were, I think it was maybe Galesburg, walking around like in that new construction area, just like seeing like the parts of the rail, and then as we went through and saw more finished parts, like, okay, now I see it's like it's a railing. Like, it's just interesting how you talked about it, and then like now I'm really seeing it. I saw that during the site visit, just the beginning of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And a lot of this is I don't want to say trial and error, but it's stuff that we've learned from our clients. I mean, the best way to do a thing is you need to talk to the people that are operating the facility. Not only the operators, but the people that are there day to day.
Yes.
And we want to get their input, because there's some often that we think, maybe the statutes or the code says, hey, you need this and it needs to be here. Well, they give a limit, maybe it's 50 feet from a nurse's station or something like that. Yeah. Well, when you talk to them, the people operating say, I really want it over here. It's still within that limits, but it's more accessible. I'm not trying to get it around this countertop or something like that, which getting their input is so much important, I think that's, I guess what we're doing is we're just trying to design the facilities that are going to be a safe environment for, the person that's getting the services there, because it is healthcare. It's not housing. It's definitely a healthcare aspect to it. And like you said, the carpeting and the borders, we avoid doing that. However, we can do something where a border can be advantageous.
Yes.
So, for example, if there's a door that might have some issues of someone going out, we may do a big area of it in front of it as black carpet, and that would appear to be a hole.
Yeah.
and that would deter someone to be going over there.
Yeah. I mean, I just found that so fascinating. Like, it's so simple, but just like that just putting that there, it's like, okay, I'm not going to go over there. It's like, it's knowing your client, it's knowing like what type of people you're serving, and also knowing how the brain works as they kind of are going through these like different stages of whatever they're, dementia, Alzheimer's. It's fascinating.
Yeah. And one of the things too, like a door, we need doors to exit for egress, for emergency egress. Now, all the doors that we have, they're monitored. There's alarms on them, sensors, but we have delayed egress hardware on them. So what that means is when you go to push the handle, the panic bar, you have to hold it down for so many seconds before it releases.
Right.
And then when it does release, it activates the alarm.
Yeah.
We have signage on those that say, hey, this is emergency egress, alarm will sound. But other facilities, what we have done is we'll take that emergency egress door. There's an exit sign right above it, but we will finish it the same way the wall is. So if there's a wall covering on the bottom half, or like a chair rail going across, we'll blend that into the door or into the hardware to make it look like the chair rail.
Okay.
And the painting, so it looks like it's just part of the wall. It's not really an exit.
Okay.
We wouldn't put a window in that, a window. A lot of exterior doors, you want the window in there to see the light. We don't want to do that. The only place we want to do that is in areas where we want them to go, like an interior courtyard where they're secured in that courtyard, which we have a gate on there that also has the panic hardware, delayed egress with alarms, so that a resident does go out there, we know that if they do try to access that gate or do successfully get through there, alarms are going off and they can be brought back into the facility.
Okay. Did you want to talk about the windows? Did you mention that already?
Yeah, I did talk about the shading of the windows and
but
stuff.
like how they don't open all the way?
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's the other thing too, because we have this escapability thing where they've had residents want to get out, even from their own unit, so that we put limiters on the windows so that they will only open so far to keep them from a resident from crawling out the window and escaping.
Yeah.
The other things too, like, we talk about with some of the behavior and items is how we lay out the units where they're staying at.
Yeah.
And depends on the jurisdiction, they want a door on the bathroom. Makes sense.
Yeah.
However, in the middle of the night when the person is laying there, they may not know where the bathroom is. Yeah. And one of our providers, we've used the through wall package terminal air conditioning units to heat the units, or PTAC is a name for it.
Yep.
And my one client says they don't call them PTACs for nothing. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? He says, well, the residents use them as bathrooms. And I'm like, oh, no. So what they have discovered in their research is they want the bathroom to be positioned that a person laying in the bed can easily see the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that door is open. So what we have done to meet the requirements of the jurisdiction or the licensing agency is we'll use a barn door.
Yeah.
Where that door can be slid open, and it's open all the time, so that when they're in the bed, they can look in and see the bathroom.
Yeah.
And there, we design with night lights for the access of the residents within the unit so that they can clearly see that's the bathroom. Yeah. The other thing is that they like to do, this particular client, they like to do a black toilet seat on the white toilet.
Okay.
They do say that, which sounds funny because then the black looks like a hole, but it's the contrasting of the materials that allows the person to realize that, possibly that's the toilet.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Other things that we've done too is in some of the memory care facilities that we've designed that are just straight memory care, we'll have a pod or a wing that will be where the residents stay most of the time. And then they have like a living room, they have a little dining room that's part of that area. But then we'll have a central area where they will take the residents in groups and go to those areas. That's where the theater would be, where the diner or an ice cream parlor would be. A potting shed is some of the things that we've done where we can have them do plants and do like gardening inside. That can be transferred outside, but we have those kind of places. We have a salon or a barber so that they can get their hair cut. And that's in the central core area. In that central core area, what we've done is we'll provide a nice large ceiling. And that's the other thing. We try to give volume. We don't want to do spaces that are small, low, right on your head. And so even in our pods, the ceilings are tall, the ceilings in the big wandering corridors. And that's the other thing. Our corridors, we try to make them 14 to 15 feet wide, which will allow more space for the wandering.
Yeah, and I definitely noticed that when we went on those site visits, just how wide and like expansive everything felt. It never felt like being trapped or anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's a great feature for that. But this other area, what we'll do is we've done areas in these big areas, we'll paint the ceiling, if it was drywall, to look like clouds and sunshine so that it never looks like it's at night. Other ways we've done ceiling panels, suspended acoustical panel ceilings, but they're also painted with a blue sky with green leaves, and we'll put that in the whole ceiling area. So when you're in there, you're looking up and it looks like you're looking at the sky. And we did that for our facilities in most recently, the one in Muncie, Indiana was that way, done that way. And yeah, it's really just kind of providing atmospheres that make them want to be comfortable in there.
Yes. And again, part of the reason why I found this memory care so fascinating is because it's so humane and it's so like caring to the residents, all these little details, because sometimes I feel like this population can kind of get forgotten a little bit. And so it's just nice to know that there are like architects, developers out there who are making like specific choices in a very caring way for these people. I think that's really powerful. It's a wonderful way to see like the power of like design and architecture working together.
Yeah, definitely. And it's unfortunate. I have a friend who is in the stages and getting more advanced in the stages. And he's being cared at home by an unpaid caregiver, his wife. And it's a very difficult situation where a facility like this would maybe be more conducive for him. Yeah. But that's a very difficult decision that families have to make to put a loved one in a facility. And there's a cost with it, too. Yes. They're not cheap. It is an expense per month. But, the thing that you want to have in these facilities is, great food, great activities. When someone's sitting at home, and they start getting agitated, and unfortunately sometimes the people get mean. Yeah. And then here's a person that's maybe not remembering you or remembering, and then they're mean to you, and it's just leaving a bad memory as they're living out their final time. And that's difficult. Yes. I think that's difficult on everyone. And that's why these facilities are important, like you said, to provide that environment that may be more conducive. I mean, other people have said other things that they've tried. There's things called memory boxes that are outside the units. Yep. And these are just little built-in shelves where the person who lives in the facility could put some memorabilia out there. Mm-hmm. Now, what I've found from my client that we work with, he's saying most of the residents still know which unit's theirs. Okay. But like we get back to color, he has seen facilities where they'll personalize the color of the unit door for the particular resident. Yeah. He doesn't like that concept. One, it looks like an art project. There's colors everywhere. Yeah. So they like theirs to be more clean, inviting. Like they do everything. All the doors are painted white. Trims are white. A lot of neutral colors, but it's bright, it's airy. Mm-hmm. But the residents do realize where they live. But the memory boxes, what happened is the population also is very collective. When I say collective is they like to take things. Yeah. So if you had maybe your your Chicago Cubs hat there, just to remind you that, you're a Cubs fan. Someone might think that's a cool hat and they take it to their unit.
Right.
He was telling me that they have problem with silverware, food,
okay.
that the residents will take it from the dining room. Sure. And then they'll look for things, or, staff will, if they leave a laptop, the laptop will be missing. They'll find it in a resident underneath their bed, and they might find a plate of food under there with like 10 forks. Yeah. So right. He said it's an interesting dynamic that you have there. And, most of the people want their car, they want to leave. Yeah. We've done facilities where we have, like in the cooler climates, we've designed spaces where what happens is, like, say in the winter, like we are right now currently when we're filming this, we're wearing our winter coats. Yes. And we go in and we're seeing our loved one. And then we go to leave, we start putting on our coat. That signals to them, hey, it's time to go. Oh. I'm ready to go too. Yeah. So what we have done is we've designed a kind of a locker room before you enter the pod or the wing where the residents are at. Oh. And so you come in, you take your coat off. Yeah. You walk in through this door, which that door's been made to look like the wall. Yeah. You go in. They're there, you're visiting with them. You leave. Yeah. Like, through whatever distraction you do, you go out, you go through this door that looks like the wall, and then you put on your coat and you leave. So it doesn't agitate the client that, hey, I want to leave too. You're putting your coat on, then where are we going? So that was one thing you and I didn't talk pre this, but it reminded me this of, just as we're talking this through. Yeah. And I'm hoping I didn't forget any other little things that we've done, such as that in the past. No, that's, again, just like a simple thing, but it's kind of brilliant though, you know, it's, yeah. I think we covered everything we wanted to cover. Is there anything you want to say in closing? Well, I just think really is, we're not, wow, that's great. I just think there's more we could learn. Okay. I think there's things that we're learning about this. It's a horrible disease. I mean, that's the simplest way of putting it. Yeah. But if we can modify, enhance what we're doing with these facilities just to make that more comforting for the people there, like the facilities should also have things that are helpful. Like, and I didn't really talk about this too, but maybe this is something that we could add too, like the bathrooms. In the bathrooms of each resident, for if they do want to need some help, we don't have any tubs, everything's showers. Right. And the rooms are big so that a caregiver can help assist. Yes. Because they are needing some assistance at times. So we want to have that. We do have a spa area that we also usually incorporate into these designs that can have more private care where we've done in walk-in tubs or jacuzzi tubs in those type of facilities as well. Right. But I think the most important thing is at the end of the day, I think what we like to think that we're providing an enhancement to help the resident as they're progressing through this disease, but also what's important as someone that's looking for a facility for their loved one is make sure that it has the great food, the great activities, the care. And I think that is equally, if not more important than the facility. And we've touched on a few things that make it unique to help, but it really comes down to the caregiving aspect of it.
Well, thank you, Ron. Thank you to all of our listeners. This has been the Since 1919 podcast.